Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
Chairman.
Yes, Atik.
Mira se mamincha obi na mincha etifo nyina enano pay. Sa subject ehia kesipa esanse ni nyina efa yesika sem ho kwan ben na ebe fa so enya sika ebetimi da ye puntu dwuma. It's a very sensitive and very important subject matter. Chairman yedi kan say honorable Dukaka say mineral receipts and mfaso enye free minerals ho no yentimi nkyerep adipoti a yede aye. Well, of course it forms part of our revenue stream and to the extent say mpontu dwuma aye for this country over the period no yebetimi aka say your minerals income no eka ho, because we share the share of minerals income in our total revenue as we until at least we've had contributions from the mining sector to consolidated fund to our revenues. The financial budget
that is not in doubt. Yeah,
I mean know you but AB young fans say like oil say we had to introduce a petroleum revenue management act. I bet check when I ever faso a uses as can because our resource is depletable. Oh, idea bedroom mrebino na eni hobby. It's just like gold. Nti nanka yenya bibisa so anka beboa. And to that extent idea say yedwin efa kwan a ebefa so am maximize the value of ne free minerals hono. Enunti na in principle I agree with the idea say yen set up a fund. And SAF fund and the idea, and if you look at the act that sets up SAF fund, no, section 2 of that act is very clear. Near per se fund no and it is to maximize the value of the income a free minerals no, which broadly speaking, a brilliant idea, a great. Now, Ushesa act no, esa Emma. The fund to me say a bit me asset up special purpose vehicles with a view to investing sika incomes are yebenye free minerals hono, so that yebeti me enyam faso bibri every sikana every minerals hono. Nti eno so idea mene act ni yadwen ene mene nkrofo a omudi sa act no eba mene omu yadwen. But the most important thing is what is the nature of investment? What is going to be the structure of the investment? Enuna eyasem no. Media, I have a slightly different view to the current arrangement. Current arrangement in say, one say government's revenue from minerals no, and our government's income from minerals no, our corporate income tax are 35%. Government's equity free shares and our interests are in the various mining companies, and have royalty payments. As for PE, I know the I am in fun count like personal income tax. I am monthly and I am in fun count, but me come near ever directly from minerals. Now, Ushe ni me and say it be a low hanging fruits. It be so it's difficult to access them, and I say it is difficult to access them because who share BBT say government's equity interest in the mining companies there are a lot of mining companies as far as that particular item is concerned free because they always declare non-profitability and also this is a royalty which is calculable on your total revenue and only some will declare profits and some are also your dividends until a lot of the companies know for 7 years they will tell you say we have not had any profits until nipa na profit obey the dividends na obey the dividends na biakau. But a lot of the time, and there are several research papers to this effect, a lot of the time nientia aban enye new I can say sika free the 10% equity interest no and say we don't do cost audits. They tell us how much they have incurred in production. Aban and new coin to be able to verify the cost Omuka said they've incurred no. And it is when you take your total cost out of your total revenue, then you have your profits. So if the total cost are omo declare no in total revenue na they'll tell you say they have even run losses. But I'm saying say until to the extent say but they won't stop production no. They complain say they don't get profits, yet they continue to produce. I say who say Obia, you have run an entity for 7 years without profits. Why do you still want to continue doing production? It tells you say there is, for the most part, overestimation of the cost, and because I buy any cost audit, and say who per se who maximize the value of your minerals income. Me my dream, we should rather be looking at how do we take advantage of certain 10% imum. Until instead of the low-hanging fruit high royalty payments, which they be whether when your profits or when your profits are, once you've produced, a buying your free mono, and we are low-hanging fruit. Yeah, Ninya air dino, mum nananka mimi say, why don't we use that mum as the basis to go and list on any stock exchange? Oh, because no, say if anybody comes to buy shares inside. You can say if Agyapa, which is the SPV now you use, decides to go and float shares against our 10% as a free mining companies, I am sure that the shareholders will be more diligent in ensuring say mining companies do the cost audits ni ye. Senebeya they will declare profits the way I saw them declare.
Is it not a risk we're taking?
With the 10%, you should bring free 10% equity interest no more. And say because the companies will always tell you say we have not declared profits because they have exaggerated their costs, and government doesn't audit their costs in a way I able to who say we the inflated cost no we declaration and all of that. But if you use that as the basis to go and list on a stock exchange, whoever becomes a shareholder will be interested in making sure that the mining companies declare the right amount of cost and the right amount of total revenue.
Yeah, camera AGC quite the same thing. Yeah, who did they be? But on motor shares AGC at the time the purchase say is worth nothing. How sure are we say going forward?
No royalty
things will change. But make about listing on the London Stock Exchange. Getting dividends and shares and share value.
Exactly. Chairman, I was building this point to get to a point.
Already very important one about dividends Chairman, one thing in the audience are saying there to company no although attractive enough for investors, and mommy and the investors sabi one can and I will what is going on. We shouldn't assume that or in your company or ye attractive enough. No, they would to companies so able to enyam faso na abua oman.
Good
one another America AGC and government chairman cited the AGC. The AGC no ebinim so to shares.
Yeah,
or individuals were to shares. What the AGC question be obi said the AGC we mbui na company no nyiwane nkofo enye eduma anya ne. At that time it cushioned the economy. Because or AGC, Chairman, I get your point. But it will also allow people to have employment opportunities.
Atik Bremium, the point.
He's made the point say, the investment has to be attractive for investors to want to invest in. Meaning the argument. We should act now. The act is very clear on the specific streams of revenue and our income free minerals mono yebetimi ediama SPV for them to go and list on any stock exchange. One of it equity interest are Mickey, and if you look at section 3, it's very clear, and the heading is powers of the fund. A will say apart from royalties, royalty payments, I'll bet me a user as basis to go and list on any stock exchange. What to me uses our equity interest so. And it is not me my dream is there, and my argument is since we know and Shadam Yesika Bebrino, and we want to maximize the value of incomes are free minas mono. Why don't we use near Yesika Bebrino? And yes, the potential doesn't exist, but our buying is unable to, is unable to get the maximum able to mean free honum. And you said the potential doesn't exist. And if any investor are on him about oil business, and revenues accruing to government from oil, from gold. Nipan be who say, sa equity interest, semi invest to many sika because the gold companies, gold mining companies, and Kamfaswa Niwa, they will not continue to be mining. But we've decided to say, Nisika, chadamba semono, air royalties, niji nyeding. And if you look at 2019, Chairman, Ghana Chamber of Mines, they've published government's earnings from royalty payments in 2019. If you use 5 cedis as the exchange rate, it amounts to $200 million.
Okay.
That is a huge amount. We are anticipating the fund, which is MIFE, they should transfer or more and assign or more rights to companies that are set up for $1 billion. Chairman, and I say who say the demand for gold too has gone up. Ushe World Gold Council or more data for 2017, 2018, 2019, there has been a consistent increase in the demand for gold. And they are projecting say,
but I'm sure you also know that gold fluctuates.
No, I'm building a point.
Okay.
And because of COVID-19, amount for gold is one of the safest investments you can have. And because of COVID-19, they are projecting say for the next 2 years, there's going to be an even higher demand for gold. What you say? And Yamfan say, let's use the figure of $200 million. And given that there's going to be an increase in the demand for gold over a period, we can safely say, for the next 2 to 3 years, we can be earning. I'm not going to say we'll be earning more. Let's even use that conservative figure of 200 million. We can be earning 200 million every year for 3 years. Chairman, that is 600 million for 5 years. Even though gold fluctuates, but I am just using a conservative figure of 200. If we are going to use the $200 million earnings from royalties for 5 years, that would be 1 billion. But we share agreement here, you can say gold investment agreement here, signing. It tells you, say, for the life of the mining lease, Agyapa is going to work for the royalties or mujino. It is for the life of the mining lease, and we share Schedule 1 of the agreement, Schedule 1 Part 1, and Newmont or more leases in some of the areas were given in 2015. Or 2020, which means that they've done only 5 years, and Ocean Minerals and Mining Act, they have up to 15 years. So it means for the next 10 years, royalties from some mines, sika yebeji achichema shareholders. The better shares in Agyapa ya omekwa list. Meanwhile, and that is for just 1 billion, Chairman. Yes, we want upfront funding.
That is not correct.
You are saying you want upfront funding for 1 billion?
Yes.
And yes, sir.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
but that is not all. A very important discussion. If you don't, Chairman, more there. Them upfront 1 billion.
Yeah.
So unsaka. Our assurance to investors there, our revenue, constant revenue flow. But on your nona, unkotin edikotia work. I mon assurance there, them sikano so the boboy company, also the boboy mining company. Them mining company need dividends, mfasono ne the butia mon. Enti even them dividends, them royalties ni yeritua no. One onyeni nyina na okọ them transaction mo.
75.6%
no okọ transaction mo.
I didn't know.
But 1 billion, you are going to invest the 1 billion.
Oh, that is of course
to build another company. And even on the stock market, shares about to increase.
Oh, given the market forces, yes.
You trade we can even have about 3 to 5 billion.
And you can have less.
We did.
And you can have less.
So you
can have less.
Simple terms.
No, and yes, meba.
You see, 1 billion. Now, 200 million.
No, meba. Chairman,
okay,
you see how the stock market operates, if I own a company, I own and I control some preferred shares, then I decide to sell ordinary shares. Man for better, and these are the ordinary shares I trade on the stock market. Chairman, depend on the market forces, any the sentiments of investors towards business are running. Until Agyapa said, depend on how investors see Agyapa and the prospects, and they determine the value of the ordinary shares.
As somebody who likes economics, near there, will it deter investors? If I can say it could deter investors,
big time. Chairman, that's why I said the value of the shares depends on the sentiments of investors towards you can say the business I want. And you can business I want. It's not just about Agyapa. And some men kafa Agyapa. What is the future of Agyapa? What are the profit prospects and so on?
Because, for example, ex-president Mahama said to about Bobby Chip.
Chairman, and if a president Nipa Wabe president wants to become
president again,
it's serving notice about Betrim. Chairman, if I'm an investor, Sabi, and I want to buy the shares in
Ghana, no, whether or
whether or Bogana mine and on Bogana mine, but it's sending a signal like this it is sending a signal. And Chairman, Minority Committee or Moe he said they want to serve notice to the London Stock Exchange. Chairman, the very minute that letter gets there, you have no idea how many investors are going to say, I do with the future of this is not clear. And people want stability, even though there are stabilization clauses and so on. But look, why? If I terminate the contract, and if I decide to say already 49% co-shareholders before, and I decide to nationalize Agyapa, government has 51%. If you decide to nationalize it, in the international law, what you are supposed to do is that you pay prompt and adequate compensation. And it is possible to be done, even though there are stabilization clauses and stability clauses. But I on condition that we bet you compensation. And you be a sabi on him and a man for dream about Africa and say anything is possible. Now Omako serving notice say Nipa no be scared to do that. Media
Papa.
Oh, that is for because of our concerns.
No, but
and officer and to those
letters.
No,
Adibia now say Bibi obey bia yenye nya adwiniti. Ni church letters. Sabi so an church because there are
why don't me my you can say me my suggestion is that Chairman ye pentema kohin we can slow down. There are some gray areas that we can easily address.
This FM 104.3 Good to meet